It's Project Cargo Professionals, day 2 of Breakbulk Americas here in Houston, and we're with friend of the show, Agustin. How are you?
Hey, Luke, good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely, always a pleasure.
For those who don't know, just give us a bit of an introduction about Mitsubishi Power Americas and your products, your main markets, where you're producing.
Sure. Well, Mitsubishi is a big conglomerate, right? Japanese-based, global player in the energy field. We are in the power generation market, right? So basically, solution provider and equipment provider for the power generation, supporting the energy transition. So basically, everything from gas turbines, generators, steam turbines, you name it, right? So I'm in the Americas organization. I lead the logistics organization there. So it's quite an extensive team. We're doing some interesting stuff.
Tell us about a couple of your recent projects.
Yeah, we are working towards a project now in Georgia. We're delivering the first unit a few months ago, and now we are set to deliver the second one. So it's a total of 3. We're finishing a project in Brazil, which was an interesting project. We came from no units 3-4 years ago. Now we're gonna have 6 or 7 units, right, going with long-term service agreements. So we're delivering the 4th unit now. So we just loaded that unit out of Kobe in Japan last month too. So that's quite interesting work.
So when I spoke to you on the podcast about 6 months ago, you said you've never known a market like it. What's happened in the last 6 months? Yeah,
I mean, it's the demand certainly continues to grow, right? So we're fully booked into 2028 and an aggressive pipeline of book of orders, right, into 2030 or so, and we see more coming. So it's same market for all the O&Ms, EPCs, right? All the players in the industry, super busy. That's a good thing to be in the power generation right now. So,
and I keep seeing on LinkedIn, you're always recruiting, you're building the logistics team.
That was part of one of the challenges we see with, it's a good challenge to have, right? But how we can support that growth, right? And I think we need to bring the right talent, we need to bring the right processes, but people is the key. So we keep adding roles, we keep growing the team, not just on the project side, but also on our manufacturing efforts, our service department. So it's quite a lot of things that we do.
What can you do to make it attractive for people to come and work in your organization, work in logistics? How do you promote it?
I think we talked about a little bit about in the podcast last time, right? So it's like, hey, how we can make project logistics more attractive to young talent, right? So there is a career path into projects. There is interesting stuff to do. So I think it's culture. For me, it's really the culture. We like to have the right talent with the right expertise, but it has to be really a cultural fit, right? If you see in LinkedIn, you see other social media streams that we're doing a lot of fun stuff. We're having fun while we're doing it. So there's a lot of challenges there. But I think it's besides experience, you have to bring the right team with the right mindset. So that's the key.
And I saw you've just come back from a trip to Japan. Tell us about that. And
yeah, we're trying to do a little bit more on what we can do from a logistics standpoint into more the global scale, right? How we can collaborate more with our colleagues at Mitsubishi Heavy Industries in Japan out of Takasago factory.
Right.
So we try to run some initiatives with them, see how we can navigate this growing market together, right? So it was an interesting trip. Also, we met with some carriers there in Tokyo. We spent a few days with freight forwarders and carriers. So we were a team of 4 coming here from the US there. Right. So we have a lot of interesting discussions. Always great to visit Japan. Good people, good fit, and culture, right? Good culture.
It was your first time?
No, I've been there. That's my 3rd time.
Okay.
I was 1 for leisure 10 years ago, and my 2nd time on business.
Yeah, sounds good. And tell us about the thorny subject of tariffs and trade policy, how you guys are responding to that, what your customers are saying, how you're dealing with all the confusion.
Yeah, I think confusion maybe is one of the key words. I think it's uncertainty too, right? So we also talked a little bit about that in the past. What type of decisions are being made based on this uncertain scenario, right? So tariffs, I see tariffs as another bottleneck in our supply chain constraints that we have in this growing market. The question is, what type of decisions are being made, right, with this changing environment, and how much visibility we have in what's coming and what's going to happen next. So that's the key for me, right? So in what I think is the demand outgrows the tariff impacts.
Yeah, and give us your outlook for the next few years. What sectors or markets are you most excited about? Where do you see the big opportunities?
Yeah, we're going to be heavily involved with projects in the U.S. Gulf. Certainly, that's going to be our hot spot over the next couple of years. Southeast U.S., all AI data center driven, right? A lot of that that's That's what keeps this demand growing and growing. We finished projects in Latin America. We transferred those into service agreements. So we're shipping a lot of parts to support our customers in Latin America for the next 12, 15, 20 years, right? So it's quite amazing. What we have in front of us is how we scale up to support it, right?
And lastly, how are you getting on with the logistics service providers? Have they stopped boxing you in? That was the takeaway from last time.
Yeah, so it has been interesting 2 days here in Breakbulk, right? Talking to a lot of partners and incumbents, prospects, and so on. The question comes, what shippers want? That's the question always, right? All the good panels too about it. I think it's finding those providers that can offer solutions and niche type providers that can offer that, come with that solution first mentality, right? We talk about verticals, we talk about locking us into standard solutions, right? I think it's how can be creative and what are the ones that are willing to make the investments that are necessary to deal with all this growing demand, right?
Absolutely. Agustin, thanks very much for your time. Good to talk.
Absolutely. Thank you, Luke.
Cheers.
Thank you.